Hello everybody! So, this week we got a new exciting snapshot, and as you can see I've tested out the animated textures here, and you get real dizzy really fast. But there's a cool new option. Right in the options menu you have texture packs, and you can actually switch to any other texture mid-game and it'll do it just for you. So, they also, since we last checked in, changed the recipe for the activator rails, and now is a little more sensible. You got a couple sticks and a redstone torch in the center to make it. So, that's the new activator rail recipe, and we'll get back to this a little bit later. As well, they actually changed the quartz block so now it works like logs, and you can place the pillared quartz sideways, which is nice for certain designs. So, another thing, we now have a new block, or at least type of minecart. It's pretty much the hopper minecart. Simply take a minecart, put a hopper above it, and it sticks it in there. It has a few nice features to it. One being that if there's something on the tracks in front of it, it goes over, it picks it up. Another thing is, it works just like a hopper. So, it pulled the items out of here, set that off, moved it all the way over here. On to our next feature. The hopper now on an activator rail actually detects the same way a hopper with a comparator works otherwise, and allows you to determine the signal based off of how many items are in it. So if we take a few of these out, you'll notice that it goes down. So that's a really useful thing that they have with this now. And that's, I'm sure there's some really good use for automated systems for this, as well as I really like the fact that they can now pick up items as well. You could use this instead of water to pick up things for like a larger mob trap where you have a large area that needs to collect items. You could instead have the water dumped down onto a track and have the hopper move back and forth across the track, picking up the items, depositing it into chests on different ways, and that way you don't have to spend a ton of resources on hoppers, but you can still pick up all the items without having to have a lot of water flow. Now, onto our new block. This is the dropper. It's a lot similar to the dispenser, except instead of the original dispenser where it shoots items out, the dropper will actually just drop the item instead, which is quite useful for items that you don't want to shoot or dispense or whatever. As you can see, there's still the same bug where redstone updates trigger it, which makes me think that they're just using the same exact code, just slightly modified for it. Okay, and let's see. The recipe for that's actually pretty simple. You just take a hopper, surround it with cobblestone, redstone at the bottom, pretty much the same as a dispenser except a hopper instead of a bow. Now, another thing to note about that is they actually changed one important thing, and I'll let you kind of guess what this is going to do here. So, we'll go down, and I really hope this works. It took a while to set up, and if it doesn't, it's going to take a long time to clean up. At least longer than we have this video, so there you go. As you can see, the new snapshot has a feature where even if as long as there is a source block beneath the block that you're beneath the water, it'll actually still fill it up. So now you don't ruin your oceans anymore with tons of things. As you can see here, yeah, I would have to fill up this entire area again to be able to reset this. So I hoped it worked the first time around so I didn't have to reset it all. But yeah, that's really useful. I love this as a new feature. And, it doesn't always work. Sometimes you need an update. And on to our last little thing for today. I'm actually going to do a little bit more in depth on it in another video. But for now, so you can see time set day. So what you do is if you have a comparator sticking out of a command block, if it executes a command successfully, it'll actually switch it to have a redstone signal. So that'll work, and no matter how many times I've pressed it now because I've set that. Now if I set this into an invalid value, it now has a false output. So there are some very useful things that you can do with that. Namely, they have this new command that they put in called test4. So what we can do is test if a player exists. So this one I'm testing within a radius of 4, and that's the command block. So if I click here, nothing. Nothing. No matter how much I click over here, it's not going to work. But if I come over here, click it, it turns on. As soon as I leave the area, off. You could set this up to a timer and have it so every like say 10 ticks, it checks to see if a player is nearby, and if so, does something. Now, I actually thought of a useful feature for that would be legitimate shops. Now this would only really work in an area where they have, say, let me get rid of some of this, XP minus 5 levels. There we go. So I have 5 levels right now. This would only work on a server where you can actually protect things. I mean, like, say, maybe you could set it up so it's all behind bedrock, but either way, it needs to be protected. What we have here is a little simple setup. If I click the button, nothing happens. But we have a little... I forget I'm in creative sometimes. We have a little pad here. If we're standing here, still nothing. But this is what I call the little buyer's zone. Now, if we come over here and have 10 levels, we can actually spend levels, and we get a diamond, as well as it removes our 10 levels from us. Now if I click it again, nothing, because we already set it off again. I could come over here, give myself some more levels, and do it again. And as you see, it gives me a diamond. It's a really simple setup. We just have this leading over into a block. One of them subtracts 10 levels, and the other one gives the player the diamond. So this would actually be a bit more useful for like buying systems in maps where you're not going to normally get experience except if it's given to you. So like maybe if you're killing mobs you get a little bit experience, but being an adventure map you can't really exploit that. But there's different options that we can use for this. This is one simple setup, a shop setup, and I think it actually works out quite nicely. And I'd like to see what adventure maps in the future have this feature, because I'm sure they'll have some great things. We could do other types of shops. You can do experience-based shops instead of item-based shops, how they currently have with the villagers. As I said, I have another idea in the works for this, and I'll show you it in another video. So, we do have the one last thing. This is our TNT cart setup we had before, except now I've put it down into a tunnel. And there's a really important reason. What happened is they've actually modified it, so the code now makes it so that if for the rail and the block underneath the rail, it does not explode if the TNT is set off by an activator rail. So let's go like this, activate this, and boom. So we come down here, see the rail's still intact, but if you look around, it blew up quite a large area. That's actually because it got going pretty fast. As you remember from the previous snapshot, the speed of the minecart actually determines how big the explosion is. For example, if we just I did some testing with this before. And push. Ah! Well, that worked. And we got a lot of experience for it. Okay. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and subscribe if you want to see more. I'll see you guys next time.